Hey everybody, what's the date today? It's the 27th, and we are in lesson 3.3, creating a report for Galetown. But before we get into lesson 3.3, let's really quickly review a couple things on 3.2. On 3.2, one of the main things you were supposed to do was evaluate the sources of all of that evidence. It was great reading some of your responses, and it seemed like a lot of us were right on track with realizing that if somebody is a professional in that field, that is probably a more credible source than somebody who's just kind of doing it as a hobby. Also, something that's published, something that is peer reviewed. That is also going to be something that is a lot more credible than, I don't know, something that someone just kind of puts on a blog somewhere. So the evidence that we had, let's go and take a look at some of the evidence cards. One of the questions that I wanted you to answer was, in what do all the big storms have in common, and in which storm do you think the most energy was transferred and why? I liked these pieces of evidence because even though they all had information about storms, they were all written in slightly different ways. Some of them had data tables, some of them had maps, some of them had, all of the information just kind of laid out for you like that. Some of you just kind of had to read the account and pick out the important pieces of information there. So I like that we were kind of forced to look at all of these slightly different ways. Um, and it looked like a lot of people had the right idea with what do all the big storms have in common. Also, they all start off with very warm weather. Let's take a look at this China storm. Start off with very warm weather, high humidity. That means that there's a lot of water vapor in the air. And what this one is talking about, a low pressure system, I believe. Yes, pressure in Beijing was low, surrounded by an area of high pressure. Well, that's going to create a lot of wind, isn't it? Because the air is going to move from that high pressure location to the low pressure location. So warm weather, lots of water vapor in the air, and a significant amount of wind is going to give us these big storms, these major storms. Let's go ahead and move on. So the first thing that we're going to be doing in lesson 3.3 is our warm-up course, and we have a data table there. Now, we've seen a lot of this data before, but the data table now has a new column, and it shows us the wind strength of all of these storms, which we were not aware of before. So go ahead and answer the warm-up question, whether or not you think that wind is affecting the amount of rain in Galetown, and then explain your answer there. And then the next thing we're going to be doing is modeling these rainstorms. And we have information for two different storms, Storm 3 and Storm 4. This could get a little bit tricky because they don't include a modeling tool online. So if you have your workbook, lucky you, on pages 96 and 97, you can go ahead and do the model right there. If you don't have the workbook, I've attached the model right here. You'll need two of these. You could print it out and just write directly on there. You could even probably draw on it somehow with some kind of app. If you want to upload that into Google Drawings, you could draw on it that way. But basically what you're going to do is take a look at this information and try to put all of that onto your model and show all of that on your model. Here's all the things that you have to do. Here's all of the different images and words and things like that that you'll use to put on your model to show these two different rainstorms. After you have made your models, the next thing you're supposed to do is discuss with your partner that you don't have some of these questions. Now, I took all of these questions and I put them on as separate questions in our Google Classroom for lesson 3.3. So please go through and answer each of those questions. And of course, look at other people's responses to see what they said. Maybe you'll get some new ideas, some new information, or see something in a way that you hadn't seen it before. And lastly is the homework. Now, the homework is really the main part of this lesson. It's where we're combining all of the evidence and we're trying to defend the claims. There's two parts to the homework. There's two writing assignments. The first one is we're really just answering the question, why has Galetown had these severe storms? What has been causing these severe storms? These are our claims. They're all right here, claim 1, 2, and 3. You're going to want to provide any kind of evidence you can based on our storm data, based on the sim, based on some of the readings that we've done. Here are the storms right here that we've been looking at. We've been modeling these. And then there's some ideas for sentence starters if you are kind of having trouble figuring out, well, where do I even begin? Here's all of our vocabulary words that you should use in your response. By using these and using them correctly, you're showing me you understand them. And to really have a good understanding of these concepts, you should be able to use these words to describe them. So, part 2 of the homework, will Galetown's storms always be severe? Now, this is a really interesting question. You're going to go ahead and click, I think, yes or no. But then, of course, you have to tell me why. Here's words, again, to use in your response. But yeah, so it's this question right here. The citizens of Galetown want to know if they should expect more severe storms. Do you think that the storms that are happening in Galetown will always be severe? Are the conditions always going to be right for these major storms? Are some things permanent, other things sort of temporary? That's for you to decide. Okay, so good luck. Oh, I forgot the self-assessment. Yeah, do this, please. This is for you. This is also for me. This is for you to go through these and double check. Hey, am I understanding this? Am I getting this? We will be having the end of unit assessment. Geez, is that next week? I think that's lesson 4.3, just like normal. So go back, check the critical juncture, start studying that, making sure that you're understanding all these concepts. At this point, we've covered pretty much everything that we're going to cover in the unit. We will be doing the science seminar next week. I have no idea yet how we're going to do that, but we're going to try. And yeah. So there's really not much content left that we're going to add. So take a look at your key concepts, take a look at your vocabulary, and definitely go over that critical juncture.